Korean culture has gained popularity and influence globally. In the Philippines, the acceptance of Korean culture is evident, and it quickly captures the attention of all people of all ages, young and old. Especially popular among the youth because of their fondness for K-dramas and K-pop. As a result, they often try to imitate things they see, such as speaking style or language, hand gesture, fashion, skincare, and also grooming related to Korean culture. One of the most beloved aspects among Filipino is eating Korean food by dining at Korean restaurant. According to Nakmanara, it is not only about the food, but also about engaging senses, atmosphere, and social connection. Because of this, we want to learn about their Korean dining experiences and how it affects their social cultural behavior. Since culinary students love to try different cuisines, they might be inspired by Korean restaurants in terms of food presentation, services, and the cultural values associated with dining. Our study is important for several reasons. For culinary students, it helps them learn more about different cuisine from around the world. Also, they can understand and appreciate cultural diversity and develop creativity that will benefit their future careers. For future researchers, it can be their resource and guide for their studies related to food experiences, cultural exchange, and social cultural effects of this interaction. For Korean restaurant, it offers valuable information for their customer like and areas where their restaurant can improve, helping them provide better dining experience and attract more customers. There are many studies about the effect of dining experiences on customer satisfaction, behavior, and service escape, but only a few look into how it affects social cultural understanding and culinary students. Therefore, this study conducted to fill the gap.
For our next slide, I will be discussing the theoretical framework, and in our study, we use the ELC or Experiential Learning Cycle by David Kolb. So this experiential learning cycle, it provides a framework for understanding how individual learns from their experiences. And experiential learning cycle have four cycle, and the first cycle that I will be discussing is the concrete experience. In concrete experience, this is where the learner or an individual actively engages in new experiences or new situations. So this is the initial phase of the cycle, wherein it serves a foundation for a subsequent learning. And the nature of the concrete experience, whether it is a practical activity or a real world problem solving, and then just any kind of situation, according to David Kolb, it is still significantly shapes the learning journey of the individual. In relates to our study, the concrete experience will be the dining experience of the culinary students from the Korean restaurants, since they will be able to experience the Korean culture firsthand. For example, they will experience using chopsticks as their utensil, and they may observe and learn the table manners or etiquettes during their dining. And of course, they will experience new service styles. And then, most importantly, they will experience the authentic flavor and taste of a Korean dish. And also, through dining experience, they are very prone into experiencing new learnings about the other culture of Korean. Let's say, for example, the banchan. Banchan is side dishes in English. In Korean culture, uh, every dining there is always a side dishes, and one side dish is not enough. It's usually more than two, and side dishes are always present along with the main dish. It's a tradition or part of a culture in Korean dining. Let's move on to the next cycle, which is the reflective observation, wherein the individual are starting to critically reflect on their experiences based on various perspectives. In our study, the experiences is all about Korean culture, and they may reflect on that experience using their own cultural background. They may compare the dining practices of Korea to dining practices of the Philippines. So as I have said, they reflect on their experiences from various perspectives. So another example of perspective is uh, using the current trend that that is evident in their surroundings to reflect on their experiences in Korean restaurant. Reflective stage is very crucial since it deepens the insights and the understanding of the dynamic of their own experiences. And in reflective observation, it involves stepping back and having to analyze what happened in their experiences, and also, most importantly, considering different point of views to have a comprehensive understanding of their own experience and of course the culture. So from the second stage, let us move on to the third cycle, which is the abstract conceptualization. So in the second stage, where ideas are being formed, in the third stage, which is the abstract conceptualization, those ideas are being used to generate as more structured concept. For example, culinary students may learn about the Korean ingredients and of course the different Korean cooking techniques. They may have the idea to incorporate it into a Filipino dish or way of cooking. Stage, let us move on to the last cycle, which is the active experimentation. So in the third stage, abstract concepts are formed. So in the last cycle, those abstract concepts are being put into action. So the culinary students will now try to incorporate those experiences or the learning they get from the experiences and try to incorporate it into their own lifestyle or in their profession. So for example, in the Philippines, one of the most common breakfast that we take is sinangag. And we usually just put some garlic on it and some salt. But according to the research, some of the Filipinos, mostly young adults, especially those who are uh, very fan of Korean culture, they try to incorporate Korean ingredients such as kimchi on it for extra flavor and of course health benefits. So the learning styles in the cycle, first we have what we call accommodating. It happens in between of concrete experience and active experimentation. The second learning style is the diverging. It happens to concrete experience and reflective observation. Third is what we call assimilating. It happens in between of abstract conceptualization and reflective observation. And lastly, the learning style that we call converging. It happens in between of active abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. The experiential learning cycle emphasizes that learning must be continuous rather than passive. And because of that, it makes the framework more valuable for designing an effective learning environment. The conceptual framework in this study illustrates the connection between the variables involved. The independent variables are the demographic profiles, and including the age, gender, school, and year level, and the perceived dining experiences of culinary students. These factors are assumed to have an influence on the dependent variable, which is the social-cultural impact. The framework shows that the background of the students, together with their dining experiences in Korean cuisine, may affect how they perceived and develop cultural awareness, social values, and interpersonal interactions. So this framework is anchored on the idea that students' background and experiences are playing a vital role in shaping their perception and sociocultural development. So by analyzing these variables, the study aims to understand how experiential learning, particularly through Korean dining, contributes to students' cultural awareness, professional growth, and of course, overall learning process.
The research problem is to understand how culinary students view their experiences when dining at Korean restaurants and how these experiences affects their understanding about Korean culture and society. And this research aims to answer the following specific questions. First is what is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, gender, school name, and year level. Second is what is the level of Korean dining experience of the respondents in terms of concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Third is there a significant difference in the level of Korean dining experience when grouped according to the demographic profile? Fourth, what is recommendations can be proposed to enhance students' cultural exposure and appreciation through Korean dining experiences? Addressing this problem is important because it helps us understand how Korean dining experience influence culinary students' cultural awareness and creativity. This knowledge can improve how culinary students are taught and prepared for the global food industry. It also encourages greater appreciation of different culture, which is valuable for their future careers. Solving this helps develop culturally aware and skilled food professionals.
Next is research methodology. For our study, we used a quantitative method with a descriptive research design. So the quantitative approach will allow us to collect or gather numerical data and analyze it using statistical techniques. Uh, while the descriptive design helped us present the demographic profile of the respondents and also describe their level of experience in Korean dining. So, also, this study was also guided by Kolb's experiential learning cycle, including the concrete experience, reflective observation, uh, abstract conceptualization, and lastly, active experimentation. So the method that we use was chosen because it provides a systematic way for us to measure the students' experience and to describe the impact of Korean dining on their social cultural development. Next is population, sample size, and sampling technique. And for our target population, our study will be conducted in 4 selected colleges or universities here in Laguna that offers a culinary program. Uh, and those schools that we choose are namely number one, Saint Vincent College of Cabuyao, Mapua Malayan Colleges, uh, University of Perpetual Calamba branch, and then lastly STI Calamba branch also. For our sample size, in those four schools, we have identified total of 325 students. That is 50%, and that is from first year to fourth year culinary students, and they are currently enrolled in academic year 2025 to 2026. For our sampling technique, we use the purposive sampling technique because the study focuses only on culinary students who are most relevant participant in examining Korean dining experiences and their socio-cultural impact. So this means the respondents were chosen based on specific criteria. And of course, being officially enrolled as a culinary students and belonging to the target year levels. And lastly, being willing to participate in the study. Purposive sampling was chosen because it is practical, cost effective, and ensures that the data collected will be meaningful and aligned with our objective. And our objective is to analyze the sociocultural impact uh, in terms of dining experiences of the culinary students. And although it does not allow the full generalization of to all students, it provides reliable insight specific to our target group.
Next is respondent. Our respondent is culinary student that currently enrolled here in Laguna. We selected these four schools because they offer hospitality and culinary program. These are St. Vincent College of Cabuyao, and next is Mapua Malayan College, and University of Perpetual Health System, and lastly is STI Calamba. The respondents come from different year level, ranging first year to fourth year. This is because each person has different perspective by their experience and exposure vary as they progress in their studies. They are also different in age, gender, year level, and school affiliation to assess whether these different demographic factors affect their views and experience with Korean dining. Here in research instrument, we use a survey questionnaire that include Likert type rating scale items to measure the level of experience of culinary student with Korean dining and its effects on their social cultural behavior. The questionnaire was designed based on four stages of Kolbe experimental learning theory. We have concrete experiences, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation.
We recruited participants by giving request letter to the school and university that we chosen. We make letter and sign it to our advisor and college dean and also our school dean. After that, we go to their school to personally give the letter And we also send a Gmail informing them that we send a letter to their school. And we wait for their response. After they approve the letter, we make a survey questionnaire based on the topic and the things we want to find out. We also ask the experts to validate our survey questionnaire to check if it's correct and understandable. After validation, we will give the survey to the school and university we choose, and they can answer it through online or on the paper. Then we will collect and review the answer to make sure if it's complete and correct before we use it to our study. We ensure that our questionnaires are accurate and reliable by first having an expert to review it. These experts check whether the questions were clear and appropriate for the study. We do the test to the questionnaire with a small group of participants who had similar characteristics to our target participants. The results from this test were analyzed using Cronbach's alpha to assess its consistency and reliability of the instrument, ensuring its appropriateness for this study.
Next is statistical treatment. For our SOP1, the statistical treatment that we are going to employ is the frequency and percentage distribution. So this will be used to describe the demographic profile of the respondent in terms of age, gender, year level, and school. So it will show the proportion of the respondents under each category. So the formula of frequency and percentage distribution is F over N times 100, where F is equivalent or mean as frequency of the responses, and then N is equivalent or meaning total number of respondents.
For our SOP2, the statistical treatment we're going to use is weighted mean. This will be used a 5-point Likert scale to determine the level of perception that culinary students have toward Korean dining experiences, focusing on dining practices, cultural appreciation, behavioral influence, and professional development. Here in weighted mean, we have FW over N. F is for frequency of respondent and W is for weight of each scale respondent and N for total number of respondent. To, ex- to express their degree of agreement with various statements, typically ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. This approach allows us to understand their experience and responses.
In our SOP number 3, the statistical treatment that we're going to use is the t-test for demographic like gender and ANOVA for the demographic like school name, year level, and age. The formula for the independent sample t-test is T is equals to x1 mean of the group 1 male minus x2 mean of the group 2 female over S1 squared variance of group 1 over N1 number of respondents in group 1 plus S2 squared variance of group 2 over N2 number of respondents in group 2.